Been feeling trapped down on the floor. I don't know what for. Feels like I'm gonna lose. Silence takes a hold. I can't let it go. Chain up, no one knows. But I won't let the stormy sea.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking. If you haven't already subscribed, just hit that subscribe button down below and come join my family on YouTube. Also, just hit the notification bell so that whenever I put out a video, you will get notified and you can go watch it. Okay, so we're continuing the conversation on whether Afro-Caribbeans, Black Americans should actually move to the continent, and also we will be branching into why is it that with all that's going on in the United States or in North America, that Africans and Afro-Caribbeans are still choosing to go there? Who is to blame? Is it the government? Are we to take part of the blame? All that good stuff. So if you're interested in that conversation, then just keep on watching this. And again, don't forget to subscribe. It's free, guys.
The recent activities in the U.S. led the Ghanaian tourism minister on June 11th to call for African Americans to leave where
Come back
you
home.
are not wanted.
Mhm.
You do not have to stay where you are not wanted forever. You have a choice, and Africa is waiting for you.
Oh, I can't wait.
Before we get into the issue for discussion today, I'd like to give each of you a minute to share your thoughts on this. Should Black or African Americans move back to the continent?
Well, let me go. I'm a Jamaican born, and I travel to Ghana, and I go to Ghana every year. I go to Ghana more than I go to Jamaica, and I can't wait to build my house in Ghana. I have land there. I bought land a year ago, and I must start building either later this year. It's a beautiful vibe, the vibe. And when they send that inviting people from the US to come home, it's a beautiful thing. And I always try to tell my friends and family members to visit Ghana first before you make any type of, I don't want to go to Africa because we see the negativity that they put on TV. Ghana is one of the most humblest country. The violence. First of all, we have to ask ourselves, what do we want our future to look like? If we have young ones growing, having young ones and stuff like that. I have a 3-year-old. I look at my future. I'm a quiet person by nature. And I just want to live, right? And I see I could do that in Ghana. Whenever I go there, I'm more, I do a lot of outreach. Most of my endeavors are in Ghana that I do there. My nonprofit based stuff is in Ghana, for Ghana. I studied at the university. That's how I got my start, by going there, by studying at the University of Legon. And the history is so rich that certain things that I didn't know about certain parts of the history, and that Ghana was the base, and how Ghana and Jamaica is connected. I didn't know about that. So that intrigued me more. And I keep going and I keep going. However, I believe that America, we look at America is not for us. And I always tell people like that. I always tell people, get what you got to get. If you got to get your degrees, get your money up or whatever. And he said, are you going to go back to the Caribbean, or are you going to go back to Africa? And when I'm in Africa, I feel very comfortable than even better than even me being Jamaican. And I go to Jamaica as well. I'm from Clarendon, and I feel more comfortable in Ghana than in Jamaica. And I have my personal reasons for that type of stuff. So when they ask people to come home back to Ghana, what I'm saying, I was elated about that. I'm a big fan of Africa, man. Not just Ghana, I'm just a big fan of Africa. and the people are just so well put together, man, and the people are so nice. And I'm for it, man. I'm for it. Two hands up.
Yeah, so I've been looking on some of those articles with respect to Ghana, encouraging persons of African ancestry to move back. This is my take on it. When Julian first asked, could this potentially be a solution? I won't lie, my default answer was no, it won't. Because Africa, you'd assume, would be the place where we wouldn't experience racism. Yet, if somebody's, let's say, 30 years old or even a little bit younger, when they were born, that means that the apartheid regime was still pretty much active in South Africa. What we think of as far as Africa being the motherland is it's extremely idealistic. It's what we want it to be, but in reality, it probably isn't. No, will that work for some people? Yeah. I mean, I actually, looked up some stories of people who actually moved to different parts of Africa from the US, and it's working for them. So for some people, that is the solution, but it's not a one size fits all type of thing. If someone's going to move to Africa to racism, it can't just be because they're trying to escape racism, because they may get a rude awakening. I don't know what the statistics are for other parts of Africa, but apartheid ended on paper. Dr. Ochuko, apart from even career goals, how are Black people in South Africa really treated? So for me, it's kind of, if you're going to move there, it shouldn't be just because you're trying to experience racism. There has to be another reason.
Well, in South Africa, there's still racism. There's systematic racism in South Africa. The whites control the economy. The whites, they are more privileged. They tend to have more opportunities than the Black. So it's still ongoing. And coming to Africa will not really be the solution unless if you have a passion, if you have a business to do. Yes, there are a lot of opportunities over here in Africa, in Nigeria, in South Africa. If you have the capital, you have the resources. Yes, it's good. But if you're coming over here just to start a life, just to start a normal life, like hustling, get a job, also do some work, it should be really difficult for you to survive.
Well, Marcus Garvey was of the ideology that moving back to Africa was the way to avoid oppression. Yes. And indeed, a lot of people have that mindset that going back to Africa will limit, racism and all of those things. To be honest with you, for me personally, it's much more than making that move. I think, for us to escape what is happening in the world today is going to take a whole lot more. It's going to take a change in mindset, because according to the doctor that spoke just now, he's saying that Blacks are even racist against Blacks.
Yes.
You understand me? And if we don't change that mindset, we will never escape this plague. I have to call it a plague, because racism is a plague. And the next thing, whenever they see Black people coming together, everybody is fearful. There is strength in unity. But first, we are corrupted. And I believe part of that corruption that we have in our mind right now stems from the whole thing about slavery. Those persons back in the days, they corrupted our minds with against our own Black people. Tulsa. So we need, So we need to go back to the drawing board. Right? Look out for each other. Put our Black people first. And when we do that, we can build. It don't matter where we go. Once we look out for each other, we can build anywhere.
Repatriation to the motherland. I must say that I don't think so. Not for me personally. When I compare my life in the Caribbean to what I see on the news, how Africa is portrayed. But I must say that from the travels that I've seen Judy had and all of her expeditions, I've seen where the motherland, they usually highlight the negative aspects of it, or the part that does not look so fabulous. it basically focuses on the poverty. So with that in mind, and that is all that I know, apart from the little vicarious experience that I would have from Judy's perspective and other people who would have visited the motherland. No, for me, no. I am happy being a Caribbean person, and I don't think I would enjoy living in the motherland.
That's approximately 2.1 million African migrants in the US as of 2009. 2/3 of this number were either from East or West Africa, and then 4.4 million Caribbean immigrants as of 2017. This accounted for 10% of the nation's 44.5 million immigrants. I heard the invitation call from the minister, but I found it rather strange that she was calling Black or African Americans to return to the motherland. Yet at the same time, Africans and the Afro-Caribbeans are still looking and wanting to migrate to North America. So my question to this panel tonight, since all of you have either migrated from the Caribbean or Africa, or your parents did, why are Africans and Afro-Caribbeans still looking to the USA as a land of opportunity, even though there are so many challenges, inequalities, and injustices there?
Well, there have been an opportunity to travel to some parts of the world, Asia, America, and some other African countries. Not talking about Africans going to most African, we Africans living in the motherland. If you ask a young boy or a young girl, what's your dream? They'll tell you, no, I would like to settle in Europe, I would like to settle in America, I would like to live in Canada. Why? Because of the situation of things at home. I come from Nigeria. The rate of tribalism is very high. To get a job, because you belong to a particular tribe, is an issue. And when you bring up the issues of racism in America, that, they're killing blacks, they will tell you, what's the difference of whites killing blacks and over here, the blacks are killing blacks because of tribal issues? Or in South Africa, you have xenophobia. So they tell you it's better to go to where you know your enemies, are the whites, the blacks, they cooperate. But yeah, blacks don't cooperate. They tend to honor the whites more. They give the whites more privileges over here, which is kind of sad. And again, like I tell people, when you travel out, go there, make your money, do whatever you want to do, establish yourself. After some time, you can come back home. Really, there's no place like home. No matter where we go to, home will always be home. So I tell myself, look, you're still young in your career, and Africa does not really have what it takes for you to bring your career. That's, for me, my career, because I'm a research scientist. And most of the science, we don't really, in Africa, we don't really have much scientific equipment over here. Scientific and devices, even the research institutes are kind of poor. That sometimes we just have to travel to the US or some European countries to do our research and come back. So when we have such opportunities to go over there or we get a job over there, we'll be happy so that we can grow high in our careers, so that we'll be known worldwide. Then we come back home later. So that's my advice I usually give people, that go travel out, establish yourself, make the money, and come back home to establish yourself. Because when you stay back home, it will be kind of difficult, especially when you're from the minority tribe. It will be difficult for you to establish yourself. Like my hometown, there's an oil company, there's a shell company over there. But me, even with my doctorate degree, I cannot go there to get a job because I'm not from the major tribe. But people from the major tribe, like the Hausas, that's from northern Nigeria, the Fulanis, you see them, they can easily get a job over there, even with less qualification. But me, that is from that same town where the company is, I cannot get a job with my high qualification. So you can see, I don't know if you understand, that's the kind of issue we face back at home. So we just have to fend for ourselves. We just have to go out look for how to survive.
We hear the saying, the rich will always be rich and the poor will always be poor. Even sometimes when we're educated to the best of the levels, we are well educated and we still struggle to acquire the basic needs. And again, this is one of the reasons why many people still will opt to go to the UK, Canada, and United States, because we were taught from very early the value and importance of education, and that is the means of social upward mobility. Yet here you are educated and you are still living like a pauper. So there is corruption, there is systematic racism, there are so many things that keeps us chained to just that basic level, right? So to be honest, I would want to place some of the blame on the government, because there are people who really try and the government do not have things in place to really help struggling people to push forward, right? I've been teaching for how many years? Over 10 years. And I cannot acquire a house unless there's somebody to partner with. Things like those are nonsense. What if I never get married? I will not be able to own a house.
A lot of us are we receive our education here, and we all are in our jobs. We are somewhat young still. We haven't reached the age of, say, retirement yet. But we're smart enough to be thinking about our future, what's next in our next life after working. So a lot of us, and even the generation behind us that are in the Caribbean, that are in Africa, are trying to get over here. Just what Doc was saying. He has a PhD. He's a doctor. He can't get certain things in Nigeria because of how the thing is set up down there. Same thing for Ghana, as well as in Jamaica. We have bright minds, intelligent people. Some of the most intelligent people I see coming out of Jamaica, and they can't get the jobs that they're or get paid, get the money that they're worth for their work. So they have to migrate. If they get the opportunity to migrate to Canada or the US, they have a better opportunity here. I have people in my family that are soldiers, and when they get the opportunity to come to the US, when they come back, they don't go back, and they work at like a storefront for a couple months until they get somebody to marry and get their stuff straight, and they make more money working at a storefront than being in the military in Jamaica.
Wow.
That blows my mind.
Wow.
So that's the reason why they want to come here. That's why reason my friends in Ghana want to come here to work and save their money to go back there, because they know that the cost of living here is expensive. They know that it's not going to be their place. They know that's not their home. So just come here and get what they have to get, and then they leave.
Well, Judy wants to know, she's asking you specifically, if moving to Africa after retirement is going to benefit the country or help to grow the economy, etc. She said, shouldn't the purpose of the move be to act as a growth stimulus for African economies?
In my opinion, it's going to benefit the country, because I have some business ventures that I'm trying to put in play as well. So it's going to benefit the country as well, because people is going to be employed who wasn't employed before. So that's the way I look at that.
She's asking me to ask him, who is to blame for the stagnancy in the Caribbean and Africa? Should we hold the government responsible? How do we do this? So that's for the panel.
The government. I mean, to be honest, to answer your question, the problem with the African and the Caribbean, I'll speak more for African and Ghana because my parents are from there and I know that system more, is it's hard to get ahead. The government puts a strangle on certain things, right? So there's only so much like you can do. they're making their money. They're profiting. The governments of these African countries are rich. They can send their kids off to schools and pay all sorts of school fees that would be deemed impossible. But the people that live in the country itself don't have much.
So the question is asked, should we hold the government responsible? My question is always going to be, who elected the government? So if we're blaming the government inadvertently, that means we're blaming ourselves. Governments do the things that they do because we don't know our power.
That's true. I agree with that.
We don't understand the power that we yield. Sorry. If they're putting power and they're not doing it, we have the power to pull them back. We don't truly understand the power of democracy. We really don't know how much power we hold in our hands.
Well, in Africa, election is just formality. Most African countries, election is just a formality. We already know who is going to be president, who's going to be the governor. So it's just a formality. Most times people don't bother to go and vote, or they just go and vote to just collect some money to put in their pockets.
If every person that lives in South Africa or Jamaica or Ghana or wherever, if everyone is of that mindset, then we've pretty much already lost. We've given away all our chances without even really giving it a good fight.
Amen.
You know what I mean? And this is something that I always say, that honestly, I'm not quite sure exactly how how South Africa is structured in terms of or not structured, just in terms of, we know, everybody knows Mandela, but in terms of people who actually helped to abolish slavery and all of that. But sometimes I think about even Jamaica. We have national heroes there, and I am confident that if they were afraid, if they kind of just threw their hands in the air and said, you know what, doesn't really make a difference, doesn't make sense to fight, then we would still be in bondage. So I think, yes, it's natural for us to feel defeated because we try so hard and it's almost as if we can make no headway. But at the same time, what if you have kids, or if you plan to have kids, what kind of world do you want them to grow up in? You know what I mean? So we might have to be the one to take the figurative lashes and fight back and take the bullets because we're fighting for their rights, but we gotta put some fight into it.
I'm not going to put all the blame on the government. I'm going to put the blame on us as well too. And the reason why is because I could speak about Jamaica and I could speak about Ghana, because those are the two main places that I've spent a lot of time, right? And I am passionate about those both places. However, we as people, we take handouts for the moment or for the week. And then we have the whole year to think about, have these people come into our area and give us handout, and we take it and we okay with it. You understand? Just because, we're gonna get some food, we're gonna feed up, we get a $50 and we get 50 CDs, and we could, okay, I'm gonna vote for you. So you buy my vote. And we take that until we start turning those stuff down, right? And let them know what our community needs, our area needs. There's still places that don't have running water in Jamaica. I was
Ghana too.
With my best friend the other day. She had to go to the river on a donkey. This is 2020 to go get water. You understand what I'm saying? and still, I go to Ghana, and in my brother community, man, water comes and goes, or the electric comes and goes. This is crazy to me in 2020. Okay? So I say let's blame ourselves. We take some of the blame. It's a 50-50. And yes, all these government people and their families lining their pockets.
Trust me, Mark, what you said, you took the words out of my mouth, man, because just thinking about it, we need to start looking ahead. Stop thinking about ourselves. And just thinking about it, the fact that a lot of these folks, white folks and different ethnic groups, their wealth is like generational wealth.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Their forefathers set the
Yep.
stage for them so
Yep.
that they don't have to work as hard as they did. Now, if we as Black people start doing this, putting some of the work in so that our children to
Yep.
come
I
don't
agree.
have to do that work, we will be better off. You understand me? But this is the thing. We think about today only, right?
Yeah.
And that is why a lot of these politicians, they keep us, and they're responsible too, because they help to keep us in poverty.
Right.
Because they know that when we have a need, we will do anything.
Well, that's true.
And they come around during election time, and when election time is around, they give you a little money here and there, and you think that they're the best. They're the best candidate for the job. But everybody right now is playing a game of psychology. Right? They're trying to get people down on their knees so that they can use them.
True.
So my thing is, Black people, we need to get up. We need to rise. We need to stop allowing people to take us for fools. You understand me? And when we do this, right, people are going to become fearful of us. They said that the first thing they did was to prevent us from learning to read and write. Right?
For sure.
They enslave us because they know that a little knowledge can bring us a far way. They came into us like sheep, right? But they were snakes, and they divided us into little groups, and then they conquered. That's how they got to us. You understand me? So once we get together now and we start trusting each other, start looking out for each other, and that is always going to be my message, buddy. We need to come together. We need to stop allowing them to take us for fools.
And just to go back to one of Kashima's earlier questions, it was despite all of this and everything that we're talking about now would somehow be related, but despite all of this, why are we still flocking to a place that's still trying to hold us down? And I think it's essentially that, because even when you're being held down here, you're still doing a little bit better than where you're from, and unfortunately, sometimes that's the truth.
Just to add something real quick, I'm sorry, but
it's okay.
It's easier for us to acquire stuff here. It's much easier. You want a car, you just walk into a car mart, you can get it. You can get a house. It might be a little bit more difficult, but you can get it. But the thing is, here you have to work.
Yeah.
And I realized that we are being blinded by the whole thing about us not having any time. A lot of people don't have time, especially if you're a single parent.
Yeah.
You don't have time for your children, right? So this country here, as much as all the money might be flowing and the opportunities are better, the quality of life, if you ask me, is not what it's supposed to be. You understand me? So we're running here and thinking that, hey, the money is there, but what about our minds? What about our sanity? You know that the US have the largest number of depression cases and anxiety. Right?
I believe it. Look at what's going on over there.
Exactly. Because people don't have the time to actually relax. In Jamaica, to be honest with you, it was slow pace. You understand me? I was, man, let me not. I cannot. Never been to Africa.
I'm laughing because I've been there, and that's one of the things, not to interrupt you, sorry, I love about Jamaica. Like I said, I'm African, I'm Ghanaian, but one of my favorite places to go is Jamaica, because you see the way they chill, you see the way they vibe, it's contagious.
No problem,
It's contagious, man. Like, I went there and I'm like, listen, if I can come here every year, just to... It increases, it makes your health better to just sit there and watch and observe and relax. And afterward, okay, I got to punch in for 9 o'clock. I'm done work at 5. So, I mean, on that point, 100% you're right. Jamaica's the chill spot.
Just to add to what Jason said, so yes, I moved here a year ago. I moved here with less than $100 US and 2 suitcases and a 5-year-old child. And within
Sorry, where's here? I don't know where here is.
North Carolina, United States.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I came late. Got you.
So within a month, I was able to furnish an apartment and buy a car.
Wow.
And I would have been working 10 years as a teacher prior to coming to the United States, and I was taking buses from point A to point B. I used to sleep on buses because that was the thing. From Montego Bay to Mandeville, I would be sleeping.
Wow, I know where that is. Wow. Okay.
You know, so the standard of living is better, but as Jason said, you have to really work.
I wanted to touch on some things too. I wanted to wait till everyone had their speech. My situation is very unique because I am born in North America. I'm Canadian, but I prefer back home. I prefer Jamaica. I prefer Ghana. I like the way they live in terms of having time to actually develop. But with North America living, it's all I know because I was born here. You're punching in 9 to 5. When you're done, okay, you got to fit in your grocery. You got it's programmed, it's scheduled. It's hard for you to live outside of what they want for you. If you work from 9 to 5, 5 days a week, you have a kid, your kid's going to school. How are you supposed to prepare lunch, read your kid a book, make sure they're set up for school? The focus doesn't even become you anymore. It becomes the lifestyle you're living. You don't get a chance to sit down and think, oh, maybe I can start a business. Maybe I can do something different than this life that's in front of me with this 9 to 5. And I wouldn't have known that until I traveled. I started traveling recently. I'm like, whoa, no wonder these guys always have time to call me on Skype and WhatsApp. It's because for them, there needs to be a little bit more of a balance where you're not just waking up and kind of, I wouldn't say doing nothing all day, but you have a lot of free time. You have a lot of free time. Whereas in North America, you don't have any free time.
You made mention of the fact that when we come here to the United States, you know how hard it is to work. It's just work, and the 8 hours seem like it's 24 hours, you know. But if given the opportunity, would I give this up and go back to Jamaica, to the life that I knew prior to coming here? Maybe not, because it still outweighs. And maybe it's because I'm in education and I get the holidays and I get the vacation. You know, it's a bit different for me, you know, because some people have to accumulate those, and it's still a bit different. But if I'm to go back home, I know that I'll go back home better off than when I was there before. So despite all the negatives, there are positives, and we just have to make the best of what hand we're dealt.
Well, I'm sorry, I know, Judy, I'm going to wrap it up, but did we ever answer how exactly to hold politicians accountable? I wasn't sure if we actually got to the root of what we can do when they don't come through for us.
We need to move away from the diehard politics. We need to move away from that, where my entire family supports this party. So it doesn't matter which representative is coming, who is good from the next one. I will not vote because I'm.
Yeah, maybe taking the power, like you said, maybe taking back the power and not voting for them again. And I definitely thank you all for participating. I really appreciate it. It's 12:15 a.m., so I'm tired. So sorry if I wasn't as talkative, but I really appreciate everyone coming together, and I hope we can continue these discussions and maybe, you know, try to make a difference some way, somehow.